Tyageshwaram Ramakrishnan Sharadam Matrurupinim Vivekanandamacharyam Natva Vakshami Shuddhaya Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacha Malam Sharirasya Cha Bhaishajena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. We have been discussing this Chaturvyaha, or the four aspects of Yoga Shastra, compared to the four aspects of science of medicine, Bhaishya Shastra. So there is, in that science of medicine, there is Roga, there is disease, there is Roga Hetu, the cause of the disease. There is Arogya, which is absence of disease. And then there is Arogya Hetu, the how to achieve, which is Bhaishajyam, which is medicine. So these are the four aspects of this science of medicine. And these four aspects are so to say interpolated in this Yoga Shastra also. So we have something that is to be got rid of, that is Heya in our life. Just as Roga, we want to get rid of Roga, we want to get rid of disease. So there is something in our life, in our spiritual life, that we want to get rid of, and that is called Heya. Then there is Heya Hetu, the cause of that which has to be got rid of. Then there is Hanam, that is the state of success, so to say. We have got rid of what we wanted to get rid of. And then there is Hanopaya, the means to achieve it. This is the Chaturvyaha Yoga Shastra. We discussed the first one, Heyam, what is to be got rid of, is Heyam Dukkham Anagatam. This is what we don't want in our life. This is the purpose of this Yoga Shastra. This becomes important because this gives us a clarity as to what is it that we are trying to do in our spiritual life especially. And you add it to the Vedantic concept of Ananda Prapti, Paramananda Prapti. So when you say Heyam Dukkham Anagatam, this Hana, or getting rid of Dukkha, 2 points. One is, it's only the Anagata Dukkha, Dukkha which has not yet come, that is to be got rid of, that can be got rid of. It's a matter of fact. We cannot do anything about experience of misery that we already have had. So it's only the Anagata Dukkha that is here. But one more word is added when you look at the goal, so to say, that is to be achieved. There is Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. This Dukkha Nivritti is Atyantika, once and for all. So no temporary measures are talked of here when we talk about getting rid of misery. It is Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti and Paramananda Prapti. That is the goal or the purpose or end game, so to say, of spiritual life. This gives us some kind of clarity. So we say we want to realize God, but what it means in terms that we can understand. We understand misery, we understand happiness. So our efforts, worldly efforts, they help us in a limited way. We get limited happiness, it again goes away. We get freed from misery for some time and again it comes back. But this spiritual emancipation or culmination of spiritual life, that will give us Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti and Paramananda Prapti. Atyantika means complete cessation for all time to come, and Paramananda Prapti, that is the attainment of bliss, which again will never be lost. So that is the purpose of this Yoga Shastra, and for that matter any spiritual path, so to say. So Heyam Dukkham Anagatam was the first of these four aspects of Yoga Shastra. What is to be got rid of is incumbent misery, so to say. We have seen that. And then there is Hetu. What is the cause of this Dukkha? What is the cause of Heya? Heya Hetu. And that Sutrakara said, Drashtu Drashyayoho Sanyogo Heya Hetu. Heya Hetu is the sanyoga, the coming together of the drashta and the drishya, the seer and the seen. Coming together of them, that is the cause of dukkha, which is to be avoided. Heya Hetu is dukkha, and Heya is dukkha, and Heya Hetu is the sanyoga. So, this sanyoga of the seer and the seen, that is the cause of Heya. The two terms were used, drashta and drishya. As is the tradition of the sutra literature, these two have to be explained. So the next sutra explains what is drishya. These sutras we have discussed in our earlier class. We are not going there. We are just, so to say, giving a framework as to where, how we are in the present sutra. The present sutra is describing the drishya. And it said, Prakasha Kriya Sthiti Shilam Bhutendriyatmakam Bhogapavargartham Drishyam. This is how Drishyam is, so to say, defined or explained. It's a very comprehensive definition, and it has three aspects, so to say. Three compound words are there which define this Drishyam. I think we looked into the first one, Prakasha Kriya Sthiti Shilam. This tells us the Shila or the Swarupa of the Drishya. Second compound, Bhutendriyatmakam, gives us the Karya or the effect of this Drishya. Effect in what we can understand, what we can perceive, what we can experience. There is the Karya of this Drishya. And then Bhogapavargartham, that gives the Prayojana of this Drishya. What is the purpose of this Drishya? As we will see here as we explain this sutra, this Drishya consists of mind, starting with the mind, senses, body, and the entire universe. Everything is Drishya. So that we should keep in mind, and the Sutrakara himself has explained this. So the first term was Prakasha Kriya Sthiti Shilam. And we saw here Sutrakara is referring to three gunas. He has not used the word guna in this sutra. He will use it in the next sutra. But Bhashyakara points out that Sutrakara here is referring to the three gunas, which have this swarupa, Shila, of Prakasha, Kriya, and Sthiti. So Prakasha is luminosity, knowledge, so to say, Prakasha. Kriya is activity, and Sthiti is inertia. This is the Shila or the Swarupa of the Drishya. As I said, these three refer to three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva is responsible for luminosity, Rajas for activity, and Tamas for inertia. So, Prakasha Shilam Sattvam. That's how he explains, the Bhashyakara explains. Prakasha is the Swarupa of the Sattva, so to say. And Kriya Shilam Rajaha. The Sthiti Shilam Tamas. So these are it's a direct reference or such indirect reference to the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. In our last class we discussed, by guna many times we understand qualities. In Sanskrit that will be called dharma, what we call quality, like the redness of a flower, that is the guna of the flower. And because flower is an object and it has a quality called redness. But that is in Sanskrit called dharma. Guna word is also used, but in this Sankhyan philosophy and Yoga philosophy, by the word guna, quality is not meant, but the thing itself is meant by the word guna. Gunas are the building blocks, fundamental building blocks of the entire creation. In some other philosophies, there is dravya and guna. That distinction is there. So dravya will have a guna. An object will have its qualities. We understand that. But here, gunas themselves are dravyas. So that is we should understand this. In Sankhya and Yoga, when we refer to gunas, we are actually referring to a thing, not to a quality. The reason being, according to them, there is nothing apart from gunas. So if you accept gunas as qualities, then you will have to have some dravya, some gunin, which will have these qualities. And in Sankhya and Yoga philosophy, there is nothing other than gunas. So gunas are dravyas themselves. The word guna has another meaning called rajju. Guna has a meaning called rajju, and some commentators try to match up, so to say, to explain why these sattva, raja, tamo are called gunas, because they bind the purusha like a rajju. These gunas, sattva, raja, tamo, they bind the purusha like rajju, so they are called gunas. Anyway, so this is, we should understand this, that gunas are fundamental building blocks, matter of this entire creation, of this Prakriti. And they are eternal. Eternal sense, they are metaphysically true. Just as Purusha is metaphysically true, so these gunas are metaphysically true. Certain aspects of these gunas, Vyasa has explained in detail in one long sentence. We will not go into that, all the details, but few aspects, few characteristics we can go through. One is that these three always exist in all the evolutes of Prakriti. From our mind onwards, every evolute of Prakriti has all the three gunas. That is first point. Pure sattvic, 100% sattvic entity is impossible. Every evolute is a combination of these three gunas. So there is none or nothing, only rajasic, constituted of 100% rajas or 100% tamas or 100% sattva. That is not possible. They three always are there in every evolute of Prakriti. That is one point. The second point is they have their distinct characteristics, as we saw. Sattva is responsible for luminosity, Rajas is responsible for activity, and Tamas is responsible for inertia. They never lose their inherent qualities. They always hold on to their inherent qualities. They never lose them. That is second point. Third point is, in the state of evolution, that is, when they are manifested as this world, they are never in samyavastha. Samyavastha means equal proportions. All the three in equal proportions, that is not possible. The very state of evolution is a state of disturbance of this samyavastha. So they are never in samyavastha. They are never in equal proportions in any evolute of the Prakriti. They are always in a disproportion. And when they are in disproportion, it means one will be preponderant, and that is always the case. One of them is always preponderant. Either Sattva Guna is preponderant, or Rajas is preponderant, or Tamas is preponderant. So every object, in every object, there is a combination of three gunas. They are never in samyavastha, and one of them is always preponderant. Now when one is preponderant, the other two will play a second fiddle. Now that's a very strange way of doing things. So in these gunas, they don't, so to say, quarrel with each other and bring disruption. They don't do that. They will politely, so to say, be subservient to the dominant or predominant guna. Whichever is predominant guna, the other will play a second fiddle, because as we will see later, they have a purpose to fulfill. So they won't disrupt things. They will play a second fiddle, and anga-angi bhava they call. So one will be angi and the others will be anga. One will be predominant, the other will be subservient. And that's how they work. At the same time, they keep changing. Today, Sattva-guna is preponderant, but later, Rajoguna will become preponderant and the other two will become subservient. So that continuous change is also there. So it's a very strange way of working, so to say. One of the exponents, he gives the example of coffee, prepared coffee, which we drink. He says there is milk, which doesn't have a particular taste per se. Then there is coffee, which is very bitter. And there is sugar, which is very sweet. But all these three come together to serve the purpose of the person who is taking coffee. And they play their role in a very systematic way, synchronized way, so to say. Or in an enterprise, there could be individuals of different dispositions. If they are matured enough, they don't disrupt the activities of the enterprise. They augment each other depending on the situation. They work for the success of the enterprise. At the same time, they don't give up their inherent nature. That's the beauty of these gunas. And we also see in the world also. We don't give up our nature, but if we are matured enough, we work for the enterprise, for the success of the enterprise. One person has taken lead, he or she may be of a different nature. We play a second fiddle to that person, but we don't give up our nature. So gunas are something like that. So this is the theory, so to say, of the gunas. That is, the Sankhyas and Yogas, they accept it. It's propounded by them. And so this drishyam is constituted of, or its swarupa, are these gunas. These gunas are the building blocks of this drishyam. The second phrase was bhutendriyatmakam. That is, so to say, the karya, or the manifested form of these gunas. What these gunas mean to us, that Patanjali is saying, they are constituted, or this drishyam is constituted of bhutas and indriyas, bhutatmakam and indriyatmakam. Bhutas are this prithvi, up, jala, teja, vayu, all that. Prithvi, up, vayu, teja, akasha. So all the five elements, so to say, that is one of the manifestations of these gunas. That is what the drishya constitutes. Bhutendriyatmakam, bhutatmakam, drishya constitutes of the elements and indriyas. Indriyas are the sense organs. We have organs of perception, organs of action, and the mind. So 11. So 11 organs, so to say, and the elements. This is what constitute the drishya. This is the manifested, so to say, or the effect of drishya. Or drishya in its manifested form is this, bhutas and indriyas. So this is where we see the extent of drishya. Indriyas, including mind, and the bhutas, of which our body is made, and all this whole thing, the whole creation, what we call as creation, whole thing is nothing but drishya. So that is the karya, so to say, karya aspect of this drishya. And of course, this whole thing is constituted of gunas, that we have to understand. Gunas are the building blocks. So gunas themselves will appear or manifest as bhutas and indriyas. That will come, it will show in the next sutra, the Sutrakara will tell. But these are the constituents of this drishya. And then the purpose, because this drishya is not purposeless. It has a purpose. And what is that? This said, bhogapavargartham drishyam. Bhogapavargartham. Artham means for the purpose of, for the sake of. And what is the purpose? Bhoga and apavarga. Bhoga means experiences. Apavarga means release, liberation. And of course, these two are with reference to the Purusha. Purushasya bhogapavargartham drishya. So this is again a Sankhyan concept and adopted by yogas. This drishya or the prakriti or the nature, whatever you call it, it has a purpose. It is not purposeless. It is not an error, so to say. It has a purpose, and it's a dual purpose. One is the experience and the other is liberation, both. So the purpose of drishya is to give experience to Purusha and also to facilitate liberation, apavarga, of the Purusha. That's why I say it's a very different idea than what we generally read in Vedanta and all that. Now, bhoga experience means good and bad, both. The experience of happiness, of misery, of success, of failure, all experiences. And also apavarga, both. This is a dual purpose of the drishya. Now, one of the Swamijis was writing about this bhoga apavargartham. He gives an example. So we read book, we read a page, we get that experience, so to say. We learn something, and then we turn the page. We go to the next page. There we learn something more, then we turn that page, and the whole world is like that. Our whole life is like that. We are getting experience after experience. And we are supposed to learn from these experiences and move forward. That's how the analogy with the book reading goes. We should learn from these experiences and move forward. Then he very aptly says, but most of the humanity, they are like a student or a person who is stuck on one page only. He or she keeps on reading the same page again and again and again, perhaps without learning anything from it. So we, or most of the humanity, we sometimes get into this rut. The same kind of joy, we want it, we run after it, we get it, we lose it, again we want something else, so we have not learned anything. No, that is not the purpose of drishya. Purpose of drishya is to give us experience, make us learn something from that experience, and then move forward till we reach the state of apavarga, till we reach the state of liberation. So that is the purpose of this drishya, this prakriti. It has a purpose, and this is the dual purpose: to give experience, not for the sake of experience, but for learning. And through that learning, we grow, and then we come to a state of apavarga. And then only the purpose of prakriti is served, so to say. The purpose of prakriti is served only when Purusha attains apavarga. So this is a definition of drishya. There is one more sutra which further elaborates this drishya concept. There is one point which Bhashyakara brings out. This is apavarga and bhoga, both. Now he says both these are happening in buddhi. According to the Sankhyan philosophy, this bhoga and apavarga both are happening in buddhi only. According to them, Purusha, in its own real nature, is only a sakshi. So bhoga and apavarga both are in the buddhi, but they are attributed to Purusha. And he gives the example, just as king's army is fighting. The king is in the palace. King's army is fighting, and the army wins. And what is said is the king has won. Or the army loses, and people say king has lost. So also, the bhoga and apavarga happening in the buddhi, in the antahkarana, they are attributed to Purusha. So this is the first sutra which defines drishyam. This concept of drishya again will be furthermore elaboration in the next sutra. It will happen, which we'll see later. Next Sunday there won't be this class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.